Welcome to the channel, everybody, and welcome to the live. I am a rookie, obviously. I don't know why it took me this long to realize this, but now that I have, I don't have to get off of the live that I was just on with all of you and then go in and make my video on all of this amazing news surrounding UFL. I can literally do two things at once. Kill two birds with one stone, as they call it. As I'm creating the video, I can talk to you live, so you can go back and watch in detail later. If you're busy right now, do not worry. This will all be released in a video later, not in the live section, but in the actual video session, because as we speak on this live, I'm also making a video. Don't ask me why it took me this long to finally realize that. Obviously, it's a rookie mistake by me because it would have made my life a lot easier. However, better late than never. So, I'm going to give it a few minutes before I go over the entire notes update that they gave us. There's some amazing stuff. I'm telling you right now, I could not be more excited about this update. I literally cannot wait. Obviously, you also have to think that when these updates come out, we've learned this from years of EA Sports, that not always are the fixes that they talk about exactly, they don't always come off the right way in game, right? They'll say the right things as to what they fix, but they won't truly be fixed. So you got to keep that in mind. However, we have to give strikers the benefit of the doubt and assume that everything they're saying is going to come off this way in the game. We just have to keep that in the back of our mind that you can't just, write it in stone yet. We have to actually play the game and make sure these fixes actually work this way. But it is a huge, huge, huge plus that what they talked about in the notes, has been talked about, right? I was worried because up to this point, there hasn't been much detail. Now we know exactly where they went, and it is so much more than I even had gotten. I am willing to bet that the general playtesters were only given a certain amount of information, which that's obviously not surprising. But as far as I'm talking, I'm willing to bet that there was a certain amount of in-house playtesters that worked on the more top secret stuff, the more important stuff, if you will. And the general game testers worked on, things that they didn't mind if they got leaked, because come on, guys, even though you're not supposed to talk about it and this and that and the other, things are going to get leaked when you have outside, general player-based playtesters. So I'm willing to bet, because a lot of this stuff, this is the first time I'm seeing, which is a good thing. Like, I haven't been this excited since release. If not, I'm probably more excited now because I had so much fun with the game at the beginning, and I've been saying this, but the number one thing strikers had to do with UFL is fix the defense, and they fixed both the depth and the width. They show a short. Go to YouTube and you can watch it if you haven't already. And they show the example of the width being fixed, but they didn't talk about the depth. When you read in the update notes, though, on the website, they do indeed talk about the depth. We're going to go into that here shortly. Let me hop on chat and see how many people we have here, because I plan on hopping off and doing this all in the video. But I was fortunately able to finally realize that I don't have to. It's not until 3 a.m. Central Standard Time, right? So it will be down 6 to 8 UTC, which Central Standard Time in the United States is 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. So check if you're not Central Standard Time, right, which many of you aren't. Check whatever time 3 a.m. Central Standard Time is, and that is when the game will go live. Now, sometimes it goes a little over, sometimes it goes a little quicker. So just be ready around then. If you have the ability, skip work, skip school, whatever you can do, and jump on. For me, I have a little more work than a lot of you because, as you know, I play 3 football games, and with the game in the state that it has been, I just let my squad go, right? After selling, my entire team was all 90, 91 meta players. I built up the players I wanted. I got the meta players I wanted and got rid of them all to do the center back full team, to do the players in different positions, to do whatever experiments, because the game was just in the shitter. Now, obviously, I have to make the decision, regarding how I'm going to build my team. I have no problem putting my own cash in. I've been preparing for this, but it's a matter of making sure that I go the right direction. So in that sense, on one side, I'm so excited I want to start building the team now. On the other side, I do want to wait to see how the game feels, because then, you might want certain players with snapshot, or maybe snapshot's not as, prevalent. Maybe I want, players with the curling shot at the highest. Maybe I want a Holland, or maybe I want like an Endrick type striker. So I'm excited to build my team, but on the other side of it, I want to wait. However, I am going to show you the custom tactics I'm going to start with that, based on all these notes, will work out great. So you get a little bit of a preview now. I will be going with the 4-1-2-1-2 wide, and I will get into why. I will go over the player roles, the whole nine. This is about to be a bonus live where we go over all the notes, then go into my custom tactics that I'm taking into the March update. So let's start off with the notes. I'm on the website right now. If you want to click through and follow this with me, just go to UFL Game and then go into the update note 0.62. All right, so I'm going to, as I read through, skip through anything that's not super important. You can read through as well. If you have any questions, ask them on chat, obviously, and I'll go back through and answer, right? As for right now, I'm reading. I can't read the chat like right as you speak. Actually, let me update this so I can. Hold on. Since I'm not playing a game, I can make it where display chat, boom. Display activity, boom. Position. Let's go top right. Perfect. Okay. I'll be able to see any questions you have as I'm reading this. So, starting with So let's read the introduction. Scheduled maintenance, 6 to 8 UTC, 1 to 3 Central Standard Time. Go ahead and check when that will be for you. For me, it will be 3 a.m. The server will be unavailable for the update. Okay. Then, please note that expected server activation is 8, but it could go a little longer. But also note it could be a little shorter, so we might get able to play a little earlier than 3 a.m. For me, I'm going to be right on it, waiting. I might not get off the damn game from now until then. We'll see. I got the coffee ready. My excitement's on 10. I mean, dude, kudos to you, strikers. Honestly, this is insane. I'll get into it, but you guys absolutely crushed it on this. Everything you talked about, assuming that it comes off this way in game, we are in business again. And this means a lot to me because this is a game that I started my damn channel with, dude. And this is where the most people, awesome people, by the way, that I met, the heart of my community derives from. And we all had this amazing showdown where I did my first stream, did my 15 wins online, and we all talked about how we want to take this game to the top. And it was crazy timing because as I was talking about that, it was literally that showdown where you started to see the rattiness creep in, you started to see the exploits really explode, and from there it just went totally downhill. But now I'm right back. If any of you were part of that stream where we were super excited, I'm right back there with this game because strikers, listen, they actually put the damn time in. Again, assuming all of this comes off like they say, we're right back in business, dude, and it means so much because, like I said, this is the heart of my channel, and now it's beating again. That sounds corny as hell, but it's true. So, first, the new game mode. Available March 17th, so we still got a little bit to wait for that. 5 more days to be exact. 10 o'clock UTC, whatever time that is, your time, you can check. Player versus AI mode with a tournament bracket. Each stage features matches against AI opponents. Winning the tournament grants rewards. On weekends, the rewards are increased, okay? Tournament rewards can only be earned once, but you can participate as much as you want. So if you want to go in after you earn all the rewards and just like warm up, because I always like to warm up before I get into my session, you can do it in this mode. Now, the beauty of it is now you can do your warm up but also get rewarded for it. That is what we've been talking about. That kind of thing is huge. No idea what the rewards are yet, but it is still huge that you at least get something, right? You can earn, obviously, CP, RP, XP by playing the mode. And you see the little picture of it. You get a bronze prize, a silver prize, a golden prize. And the cool thing is, sorry, one moment. The cool thing is there is also packs in here. You got grand packs for bronze, grand pack times 2, and then grand pack times 3 for the golden prize, which it says 25 winning days. So these things add up. Then you, of course, have CP that increases, LP that increases, and then RP that increases. That is freaking huge. That is huge, especially because they incorporated packs, which they largely haven't in these type of things. So that is awesome. You then see like a picture of how the playoff screen will load up. It says round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, and then each as you win, and then it shows the reward. It has collector's pack times 2, 500,000 CP, and then 500 RP, and it shows the event. One thing that I will say that UFL did better than eFootball, I wouldn't say they're ahead of FC, but they have clean, simplified menus, right? They just need to add to those menus. And I will say that this looks pretty sick, seeing how this playoff thing is going to look on here. So that is badass. But let's get into the juice of this. On the pitch, what is going to change, right? Strap in for this and get ready to be happy. Unless you're a rat. If you're a rat, go cry in the corner and get ready to get your ass kicked. And trust me, I took names throughout this. I know every one of you bastards that was putting 8 guys in the box, playing with 0 skill, and racking up wins, wasting your time like I said from the beginning, because now the last laugh gets to us skilled players who actually play the game right. You are about to get toast. So you can listen up to and hear why you're going to be toast. First off, passing and shooting. Updated the target selection algorithm. Shot and pass animations trigger faster when tapping the button, which is huge, right? It brings more fluidity to the game. Low shots are now weaker when the power bar is low, because remember, you would put a shot and you would want it to be like bottom corner or lower powered, but it would just go the same. Similar to like a through ball. You would barely tap it and sometimes it would work. Sometimes you would barely tap it and it would go like you bombed it 100 yards, like you full powered it. So they fixed that with low shots. Flare shots are now more accurate. Improved ball trajectory and enhanced accuracy of low driven through passes. Once again, improved ball trajectory and enhanced accuracy of low driven through passes. That is, you press triangle and the ball is not going to go crazy because the trajectory and the accuracy is now enhanced, improved, whatever you want to call it. We will see just how much better it is. But I would have to assume, with all the shit Strikers took for how bad this was and the fact that they couldn't fix it after 3 patches, I would have to assume this was priority number 1. I would have to assume this was something they took into the private sector of this testing and made sure it's awesome. So I'm willing to bet it's going to be awesome. Not live now. I think your comment came way late, Mikey, but just to make sure, in case you asked again, the update is not live until early this morning. But I think that just came into my PlayStation late, which is crazy delay, because I believe you asked that way at the beginning. Okay, now, getting to the next thing. Sorry, I had to scroll down a little bit. Dribbling. Reduced overrunning of the ball during dribble sprint. Okay, that's good. Dribbling in straight line movement is now improved. Sorry, let me re-say that. Freaking mind's going a million miles an hour. Improved straight line movement in dribble sprint. All right, so when you're dribbling with the ball, they improved the straight line movement, and they made sure that when you're dribbling and sprinting, you're not overrunning the ball. Enhanced responsiveness for players with low dribbling stats. Now that's kind of interesting, because when I did my different, what would you call them, experiments, the low dribbling stats players actually felt way better than they should have on the ball. But this says they enhanced their responsiveness for players with low dribbling stats. I would have thought they nerfed those lower dribbling stats players so you can actually see that they're worse and not, Van der Ven dribbling like he's Messi with the same stats. But that's fine. I'm fine with that. It doesn't do anything to cut off the skill base. If you want to make lower dribbling stat players feel better, so be it. Okay? It doesn't make much sense, but it's fine. Improve shot animation selection for high balls. Okay, so improve shot animation selection for high balls. So I guess that's talking about when you hit a bomb and it's going into the upper corner or wherever it's going, there will now be more, diversity in how it looks as it flies into the net or as it flies at the keeper for a save, which is good. That's always good. Adjusted movement speed balance with and without the ball. So adjusted movement speed balance with and without the ball. I have no idea. We'll have to see. It sounds good, though. So movement speed, I guess, of players adjusted movement speed, balance with and without the ball. I'm assuming that's a player on and off the ball, but that's open for interpretation. We'll have to see. If you know exactly what that means, leave it in the comments and I'll revisit. Goalkeepers. Fix an issue where the ball could pass through the goalkeeper after a failed save. So that is huge, right? So let's read that again though to make sure I'm going to explain this right. Fix an issue where the ball could pass through the keeper after a failed save. I just showed this on my video. If you look, it was a couple videos ago. It was with Omega, and he made a near post run. He shot it, and it literally, the goalie made this weird dive, first of all, and then it went through his arm, right? So they're talking about they fixed the issue where it could go through the keeper after a failed save. However, if it doesn't go through the keeper anymore, wouldn't that make it not a failed save? It would be an actual save. That's where it threw me off a bit. I want to make sure I was reading that right. But it said fix the issue where the ball could go through him on a failed save. Well, now, apparently, it's not going to be a failed save anymore. If they fix that issue, when it hits, it will hit the goalkeeper. It will be a save. But we will see. That's good that they address that, though. Fix an issue where the goalkeeper did not react to a shot from a rebound after making a save. We all know about those, right? The ball comes, it's a rebound, and the goalie stands there and either watches it go in the net, or they stand there as the player shoots it at them again, and it just kind of hits off their head or their arm or whatever, as if they don't even know the ball's coming at them. It's the dumbest looking thing. Glad they fixed that. Fix an issue where the goalkeeper would freeze after a goal kick. I never experienced that one, or if I did, I didn't notice. Fix delayed animation when picking up the ball. Now, what I wish they put, I'll finish the goalies and I'll talk about it. Goalkeeper adjustments, improve chip shot reactions. Okay, that's good. So they won't look so silly reacting to chip shots. Although, let's be fair, FC's goalies reacting to chip shots look ridiculous. It's one thing they can't seem to get right. So I'm glad that, strikers address that. Reduced excessive jumping on saves. So that's cool because we all know about that where the goalie it just doesn't look right. It looks goofy. Goalie almost looks like they're flying in the air for no reason. So, what I wish they added, though, one thing they did miss is when you want to drop the ball to the goalie's feet and play it out, it needs to be quicker. The way they drop the ball, they literally make it so you almost can't unless the attackers are way far away because the drop is so unnatural looking, so clunky, glitchy, that they basically take it out. They need to make it where you can drop the ball and make it more realistic. All right? Now, moving to falling and then standing up. Added new fall and stand-up animations. Players now react more realistically to physical collision and tackles. That's exactly what I've been talking about, right? The lack of fluidity in defense has to do with the movement defensively, but also, ding, 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 the lack of animations. It's either the defender would run straight through and clean up the ball, or the attacker would blow right by the defender. There was no tussles, there was no battles, and that's a big part of football. Now, it looks like they've added that in, and I'm sure there's going to be more work needed, right? I'm not saying we're going to see this, or maybe not. Maybe it's incredible now and it's perfect, but at least they're addressing and acknowledging and making, chipping away in the right direction, let's call it. Tackling, added new active tackle animations. That plays into what I was just talking about with the defense. Timing is crucial for active tackles. If performing an active tackle from behind, the player will stop. So hold on. Timing is crucial for active tackles. If performing an active tackle from behind, the player will stop. Okay, so what the hell does that mean? If they perform it from behind, the player will stop. Who knows? We will have to see what exactly that means, but that's always good when you add new because there was just no the defense was super dry, was super rigid, and then the lack of animations made it even worse. So that's huge. Player switching, this is a big one, but to me they left out one thing on this. I'll talk about that at the end. Improved player selection algorithm when switching using the L1 button. Okay? So now, in potential 1v1 situations, switching will prioritize a player who can intercept rather than one behind the opponent. How many times have you ever been in a situation where you switch, which I, by the way, for this reason, use right stick. However, we'll talk about that in a minute because that doesn't always work. But when you use L1, a lot of players have been in that position where they used it, and instead of going to the obvious defender, it goes to the defender behind, and then now the attacker, it throws you all off, and the attacker just zips through and scores or gets a chance because the switching was off. So they fixed that. That's huge. All right. Reduce right stick switching search area from 360 degrees to 190. This is huge. Everyone's been talking about how annoying it is when you're right stick switching, which is the go-to. You want to, as you get better and you get higher level, you don't want to use L1 unless it's a completely obvious switch. But typically speaking, you want to get used to right stick switching. Especially now that the defense is fixed, you're going to have to get really good at right stick switching your defenders and moving them into potential passing lanes, potential dribbling lanes, and you're going to have to do it constantly to keep moving your defense as the opponent is moving the ball. Therefore, this fix is huge because now from 360 to 190, right, the chance for the right stick choosing the wrong player will be cut way significantly down. That's huge. Now, it may not be perfect, but cutting that down from 360 to 190 will absolutely help, and it may be perfect now. We'll have to see. Free kicks, special camera, faster reactions from the kicker to rebounded balls. Okay, that's huge because remember the kicker, let's say it went into the wall or something, would sort of just stand there for a bit. Fix an issue where a player wouldn't take a shot after a wall deflection. Same thing as the player shooting, kicking the free kick would just stand there. The ball would deflect and the players would almost freeze up sometimes. It was ridiculous. Fixed missing power gauge display when shooting with an alternative player, meaning, you call your second player your third player. I did it with Messi and Ronaldo, and I ended up scoring with Messi. I had Ronaldo over the ball. I ended up taking with Messi, but I had to totally guess the power gauge didn't show up. So they fixed that. Fixed camera transition delay after an alternative player passes. Okay, so that's huge because that can throw you off too when the camera delays. Off the ball movement, improve responsiveness when changing direction. That's huge. And then optimized animation selection for smoother movement. This is part of that rigid, that lack of fluidity movement that I was talking about that UFL has, particularly on defense, but all around. So they fix that. That's huge. Another big one, stamina, rebound, stamina consumption, and reduce stamina drain for situational pressing. So think about that. We've all had to go into our settings, which I'll show you right here, and use just balance. Well, guess what? That was a big reason why players were allowed to keep the ball around the back, even though that still is going to be a thing, right? Now, you can absolutely go full pressure, pressure on every touch, pressure after possession loss, losing possession. Same thing as FC, just different wording. And you won't be just totally drained out all the way down now, right? I believe it's in that short. You can go to the website, the YouTube, and see in the short, they will show you, or actually it might be in here, further down. But either way, I saw the animation, and it is a significant fix. Now, it doesn't just, you're not going to have full energy after you use pressure after possession loss, which is what they show the example of, but it will be a significant increase. So you can absolutely play pressure after possession loss. You will need subs, which rightfully so you should, but you can now utilize anything you want. You don't just have to stick to balance. For me, my attacking, guess what? This is now going to be constant pressure, and I'm going to stick to the 3-4-3. So if anybody tries to hold the ball or need a goal, you're getting constant press, and I'm going right at you with numbers. For attacking, we're going to go, because they showed the example of it and that it worked, we're going to go pressure after possession loss. We might switch this to pressure on every touch, but we'll go with pressure after possession loss. And then for defensive, never go drop back, right? Never go drop back. Now that they fixed the defensive line, that's huge. But typically when you go drop back, in my humble opinion, you're just asking for the opponent to keep, taking chances on you. That's not how you want to finish out a game. You want to be tight defensively, but you want to prevent the chances. You don't want to invite them. So stick to balance on your defensive. Okay? Now, another thing. You no longer should need to, unless you want to, but you no longer should need to do the switching up of formations. Now, if you want to do that, you can, meaning like you just win the ball, you're in your 4-1-2-1-2 wide or whatever you're using, and then you're like, nope, I want to get numbers up. I can get this player. You can still boom, boom, move to 3-4-3, and nothing was done to change that. So it changes within a few seconds. Yes, sometimes if your opponent's real quick, they can counter you before you can get back, and you just got to contain. But it can also be very useful if you're struggling offensively to get extra numbers up. And when the players dart forward, the defenders tend to lose their markers easier. But I wanted to say the only reason I was doing that is because all the sit back rats, I didn't want to just attack in my normal formation because it wasn't enough numbers up. But I also didn't want to defend in a 3-back because it gave my opponent the chance to counter me and score easily. So that was my alternative to that, where I'd actively switch formations. Now with the defense fixed, now with the ability to pressure, you don't really need to do that unless you want to. But we'll go into more of the tactics later. I just wanted to show you that as an example. Ball blocking. Increased minimum time for block attempts. So increased minimum time for block attempts. No idea what that means, but they needed to fix the blocking for sure. And I'll give you some examples. Reduced block reaction range. Okay, players now only react to nearby balls. Block reaction range. Interesting. Fix an issue where players would block balls coming from behind. I don't know if I've had that happen. Maybe I didn't. I don't recall. But I wish they put something here on blocking shots during animations, aka during snapshot. How many times does the player at the top of the box receive the ball and shoot? How many times have you as a defender known it was coming, you couldn't close it down quick enough to intercept, but you essentially put your defender in the way to block the shot, and it just doesn't allow you to block the shot because I guess the animation overrides it. I wish they put in here that now you're able to block or block more often, right? If some few people have been able to block them, but block more often the snapshots or any other shots that trigger animations. However, that's not in there. It's fine. Everything's not going to be perfect, but so far as close to perfect as you can get. Now, before we go into miscellaneous fixes, let me look in here. I've been seeing the chat come up, but there will be 2 big categories of post-patch reactions, complaints. Things they said they fixed and they're like 5% better, and new bugs, exploits. Yeah, so that always happens, obviously. They say all these things, everyone gets hyped, and then you go and you're like, this wasn't really fixed. And, of course, from everything they fixed, there will be other exploits that rats find. There always is. However, let's use FC for example. They finally put enough time in, just like it looks like Strikers did here, and now the only exploit that has came out to this point in a game notorious for exploits was this long-ranged hold R1, hold square, and aim a long over-the-top ball, and it's been sending strikers in on goal. And obviously it's a glitch, and they got on it fast, and it's in the game like right now, but the next patch, which probably comes in a few hours, FC got rid of it quickly. Reason I'm bringing that up, if Strikers did a similar like overhaul and truly looked into all these exploits, we may have the same thing with UFL, where of course eventually someone will find an exploit, but it may take a while, and then if they do find one, as long as they're on top of it, we will be fine. It just can't last forever like this broken defense did, or like the L1 triangle, L1 square, glitches and all that stuff. Okay, so back to it. Miscellaneous fixes. Let me get a drink of coffee. Vladimir. Hold on, let me see. Let's go Brazil. I love it. All right, miscellaneous fixes. Fix balls phasing through legs when shooting without player's reaction. Okay, so that's good. It's just like going through the goalie. It won't do that anymore. Fix players ignoring the ball after a goalkeeper's save or post deflection. That happened a lot. Like the game would glitch out. The players would just stand around. The attackers could get it and score. It was silly. Or sometimes the attackers would even stand there when they had a tap in. That was annoying too. So hopefully it fixed it on defense and offensive end. Improve the dynamics of reaching the ball when receiving a pass and contesting a loose ball. This is tied to more animations on defense, right? Similar things. Player acceleration is now more responsive and prevents overrunning, okay? Meaning you're making a run for a pass. If you see in a game that you need to slow down or speed up, you're going to speed up. But in UFL, the player would just consistently run, either underrun or overrun the ball. A lot of times, more often than not, it was overrun. So they fixed that. Address fouls occurring outside the pitch. What the hell are you talking about? Don't know what that is. Okay. Fixed running in place when encountering restriction zones. fixed stuttering animations when taking penalty kicks, and fixed foot clipping through the ground and off the ball movement. So I guess that's when the foot would just disappear underground. All right, AI assist, defensive behavior. Okay, general adjustments. This is where the rats are really going to be upset. They're probably like, he hasn't said nothing that's going to stop me. Well, listen up, you POSs. The defensive line will stay wider inside the penalty box, which, if you want to see the difference, go to the YouTube short, and it shows you the before and the after. The defense literally is so close together in the before that they can touch each other's schlongdongs, and in the after, like you could fit a whale schlongdong in between them and it still would have space. So, huge improvement. Huge improvement. If a team tries to, just sit back, you can cut through those Swiss cheese holes like it's nothing. Defenders can now push forward against ball carriers. Okay, that's AI. So that means they're going to be coming at the ball carrier more. All right. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe with pressure after possession loss, it's like eFootball where, the AI defenders are now going to push up to win the ball, but it might be like, okay, you're going to leave a huge hole. So if you're going to have to manually watch that and manually switch to the defender. The defensive line will not drop back as aggressively outside the box, but will still create space inside the box. Now, this wording is terrible. Let's read that again. The defensive line will not drop back as aggressively outside the box. That makes sense, right? So the opponent has the ball. They won't just, boom, drop back, okay? Or at least not as aggressively. But then it says, but will still create space inside the box. So I'm assuming that's the spacing thing again, right? Like once they do get into the box, they won't be standing there holding each other's hands. Okay, increased defensive depth across all defensive depth settings from 1 to 9. It is now higher. Remember earlier when I said this is my balance and my players were in the box? The depth is higher at the pitch. Okay, now we don't know though. If players play one depth, maybe they can still sit all the way back. However, listen up, dipshit rats. If you think, oh, well, that don't matter, I'll still put it on 1, it will still be deep enough. No, even if it is, because the width is fixed, you're basically going to have 4 defenders sitting spaced out in front of your goalkeeper, and players are not going to be able to dribble and shoot right through those holes. The only reason you were able to do what you did is because you combined 3 things. You combined the lack of width when the defenders stood next to each other inside the box on top of midfielders. You combined the lack of depth where players were literally sitting like in the goal as secondary goalkeepers. And then you combine the R1 AI assist defense so you didn't even have to control the player and still could win the ball. Every one of these is now gone. Okay, even let's just say it's the depth is still there, but they fixed the width in the AI defense. You're still screwed. And I cannot wait to play every one of you. Okay, so moving on. Reduce the distance that defenders track attacking runners. Now listen, this is huge because AI is doing that work mostly. So now, if you see a long run, similar to what I used to do, and I tried to do it today, but the AI kept track of my attacker. But I sent my attacker on the run. My opponent did not switch to that defender, which should be a huge mistake, and now it will be. And if I timed that through ball or that over the top right, and he didn't switch to his defender yet, AI, and let AI do it, I could have burned him. So players are going to have to use the skill to know when to switch to defenders to step up and know when to track over the top runs or know when to hold the line so they're offsides. Like, it takes skill now. It takes skill to defend again. That's huge. Now, increase the gap between midfield and defensive lines is another big one because, remember, go back and look at my previous video on the missing puzzle piece. You will see the midfield and defense was just as bad as the width where they're standing next to each other. They were standing on top of each other. And it left you literally nowhere to go as an attacking team. Now, there's going to be a bigger line between the two, which is why, I'll before I go into my custom tactics, but which is why I'm only using one CDM, because even if I had 2, that huge distance, that will now be, it will be huge compared to what it was. Let's put it that way. It might not be huge. Hopefully it's more realistic. But the only thing I need that CDM to do is to cut out that pass from the wide side or from the cam into the striker. If there's two strikers, then I have to work a little bit sideways, right, to make sure both strikers aren't able to get the ball. But it's still better than wasting two CDMs, because now with that spacing, right, I'm going to want to take advantage of that, which is why I went 4-1-2-1-2 wide. I want a cam in there to get the ball up to as quickly as possible, and then he can spray it into one of my two strikers or one of my two wingers, and then I'll have my back four and obviously my anchor, my number 6, sitting in there ready to cut out those passes like I was just talking about. So that increased gap between the midfield and defense is huge, because now you have to be really good manually defending and pulling back your center defensive mids, and just how you defend in general, right? That is huge. That is absolutely huge. It fixes the game. Not only does it fix the game, but it allows you to now utilize all different formations and tactics and stuff, because you have the ability to freely attack. You don't just have to get in line and put it across. You don't just have to get it in for a snapshot to hopefully get it through the defenders, like I said earlier. That is one area where it helped when, you had Rats sitting back, is that when you did a snapshot, the defenders couldn't really block it. So no matter if they had 8, 10, 20 players, it was getting through. Now, you don't just have to rely on a few things. You can openly and freely attack, use your creativity, use your skill. Huge. All right, let me get a drink real quick, and then we'll go into attacking. Oh, no, hold up. Defensive behavior, increase gap. Okay, now pressure. Reduce stamina consumption for press after possession loss. I feel like we talked about that. And pressure on every touch. Okay, so that's huge. We already talked about that with stamina, but we'll go over it again. You can now put pressure without just totally draining your players. Both press after possession loss, which I already seen an example and is absolutely viable. Now, towards the end of the game, will you still need subs? Yes, but that's part of football anyway. We went from where you never needed subs to where you needed subs too early. Now, it looks like they balance it out good, and you don't just have to use balance. You can start putting pressure on your opponent. Especially useful for those sit back, score a goal, and pass it around players. Attacking behavior. Attacking runs. Revamp logic for triggering attacking runs, making them more predictable and effective. Now, on first read, that's like, wait, what? You don't want them predictable? The defense will know. But what they're trying to say now is that when you trigger runs, you'll be able to anticipate where to play the ball, which is important. Doesn't mean that it's going to be predictable for your opponent, right? It just means that you're going to be able to trigger the run and quickly play the pass where the ball is going to be, because now you know, because of this revamped logic for triggering the runs, right? Making them more predictable and effective. They're more effective because now you'll know where to lead the ball. You can play it quicker. You can get through now, create more chances. Positioning for passes. Attackers now stay further from defenders and have more freedom in positioning. Hence, again, why I'm going with the 4-1-2-1-2 wide, because now I am going to be able to receive the ball and start doing work. Not only that, but the midfielders are going to have that gap between the defense and then the attacking players. So I've always been this way. I'm going to be this way again. I'm not going to go on the back foot. I'm going to go on the front foot, right? Now that there's more space, now it's more open and easier to attack, I'm going to put more pressure on my opponent, make them make decisions quicker, which will lead to more mistakes, and then I'm going to be the one coming at them looking to create chances. And this, getting more space between myself and the defenders, just helps that way of playing even further, because it's going to be extremely hard for the opponent with more space now that that have to make decisions. It's going to be extremely hard for them to get the ball back. They're going to have to be good manual defenders. They're not just going to be able to hold R1 as I make a pass, and because the defender's so tight on my player, they end up stealing the ball only because they held one button and the AI did the work. They're going to actually have to manually close down that distance and be closer to my player if they want. They're going to have to manually decide where to go to defend me after I'm able to receive the ball, and they can't just steal it away holding R1. So that is huge. Central midfielders make more frequent short distance movements for passes. So now your central midfielders will be more involved in the build-up. That's always a good thing. Improve player positioning inside the opponent's box. Another huge one. When you get down into the attack, you had a great build-up. Now your players will make more realistic and more deadly type of runs, so you can get some awesome build-up, some awesome scoring chances. All right. Moving on to parameter adjustments, and then I'm going to get a drink and look at some of the chat. I've been missing some of it. Increased impact of defensive positioning and attacking positioning attributes on player movements, attacking runs, marking, and pressing. Increased impact. So now, guess what? We talked about this with all my different experiments with the players. Now attributes mean more. Defensive positioning means more. Attacking positioning means more, right? And then it's going to affect positively and negatively depending on how high or low their attributes are. It's going to affect their player movement, their attacking runs, the marking, and their pressing. So you're absolutely going to want to look at, for instance, your CDM and his defensive awareness. If it's bad, he's going to struggle in that number 6 spot. If it's good, he's going to do good at getting interceptions, making great tackles, anticipating where the ball is going to go, and his AI is going to react accordingly. So this is all huge. This is all huge. Now fixes. We'll go on to that next. Let me click in here. And read some of your comments. Okay. Wonder if the stoppage time. That's a good question. They didn't talk about that, I don't believe. But Boris Legend has the opposite take on that. He likes, like how UFL does it is how a lot of people want FC because it's so unpredictable. And they had that last chance mechanism, which is so dumb because it just gives players extra opportunities they shouldn't otherwise have. So I kind of like the idea and how they're doing it. It does suck sometimes where you earn a corner and you don't get it, or the ball goes out of the play and you're like, what? How do you not let me finish that attack? But I do think this is the most fair way to do it. I do think UFL's on the best track with ending games. Out of pitch fouls fixed. I used to slide tackle the subs so they were all injured and couldn't play. Guess. Are you being serious, John, or are you lying? You're lying. If that's true, that's hilarious. I used to slide tackle the subs and injure them all. This update looks good. I really hope gameplay will actually... Me too, Bobby. I freaking hope so, because, like I said, you're saying, you probably know just like I do from past with FC. A lot of times they'd say stuff, you go into the game, and it wasn't truly fixed that way. But let's just give them the benefit of the doubt, because I'm just super happy they're touching base on all these things. I mean, this is the first time for a lot of this stuff to be talked about, and especially in this kind of depth. I mean, I couldn't be more excited, man. If they even come close to this being actually, it says what it's going to be like, this game is back on track better than ever. Fixes. Fix keepers attempting to intercept passes they couldn't reach. Okay, that's good. So they'll no longer come out after the ball, which is why I always had my keeper on passive and balance, because when I did aggressive, they would just fly out of the box, watch the ball go by, and watch it go in the net. It was the dumbest thing ever. Don't come out if you can't win the ball. So hopefully this kind of fixes that. Fix players getting stuck in restriction zones during throw-ins, okay. Fix crashes related to tactical changes. So, maybe that's why some games were shutting down that we were seeing, or some of yours. Because for me, I remember when I was clipping the game before, it would shut down the game. And now they fixed that. I've tested, they fixed that. Maybe it's when they make some changes, the game crashes. So at least they pointed it out and they fixed something. Whether you experience it or not, hopefully you don't, but if you do, it sounds like it's fixed. Okay. Improved CM and CDM positioning for don't cross halfway line, which is huge because for my lone, sorry, I don't mean to be in here, for my lone number 6, my lone CDM, which I'm going to upgrade from Dayashimi, he's going to be a sub. But anyway, now his positioning will be improved. He won't cross over the halfway line, right? But he'll still effectively be in a great position to win the ball back for me, which is all I want him to do outside of maybe being an outlet, a connector pass. But I'm glad they fixed that. The AI bot, I'm not going to go too much into this because this is more for like when you play in these tournaments, right? Which is probably why they went in such detail, such as like the shooting system has been completely overhauled for AI bot. Depending on the situation, the bot can perform regular, finesse, or long shot. The bot makes more deliberate aiming decisions for shots on goal, considers the controlled player's attributes and dominant foot, weighing all parameters before taking a shot. Crossing system inside the penalty area has been revamped. Bot now takes into account the height of players in the box as well as their positioning and movement direction. So there's a ton more, but for the bot stuff, I'll let you go in and read that. Now, difficulty adjustments, they weaken the AI for easy, which is kind of crazy. But no, I guess it was a little more difficult than it should be for easy. And then for hard, it now exhibits more realistic and conscious buildup. So for this AI tournament, they've obviously had to go in and touch it up, and that's what you got now. The skin system update is actually huge, okay? Because in this, at first they did, and I was like, just tell us the attribute boost. At first they didn't say it. They talk about the stars increase, but they do in this explanation give you the update as far as attributes go. And check this out. I cannot wait. It actually makes skins worth it. Just listen up. Skin series enhancements. The bonuses provided by skin series have been approximately doubled. Okay, so let me go into this as an example. So, I'll tell you here as we read, and we'll look at Indrik. For example, if a series previously improved crossing or shot power by a certain amount, the effect is now nearly twice as powerful. Additionally, epic and legendary skins from these series have been further enhanced up to 2.5 times the original impact. So this right here is an epic or just a legendary. Whichever way, up to 2.5. So instead of strength being 2.5 stars, right, in the old system, it would be approximately what? 5 stars. He would actually have 5-star improvement in strength. And I'll tell you what the attributes are shortly. Okay. This update applies to all existing skin series. Okay, unique skins. So now the personal ones, this one with Indrik, instead of personal, it will change. It will be called unique. Okay, so this is a... Which series was this bad boy? I forgot. Does it say? Doesn't say. But for Protagonista, player stat bonuses are now twice as effective. Experience boost is increased from 5 to 10%. For Glance, player stat bonuses are now twice as effective. Experience boost is now from 6 to 10%. Vetrino, player stat bonuses are now twice as effective. For Profil, twice as effective from 5 to 10 on experience boost. For Fitness Recovery, increase from 40% to 60%. Lautaro Martinez, if you have his skin, he now has an additional bonus to finishing. And then Kevin De Bruyne, instead of defensive positioning improvement, it's attacking positioning and finishing, which makes sense because De Bruyne is more of an attacking CM, not a defensive. So that's cool. They fix that. These adjustments ensure that these skins fit better with the Profil collection. Player stat bonuses are now twice as effective. Guido Rodriguez and Peter Galassi skins star ratings adjusted to better reflect their relative power. Experience and fitness recovery boosts removed. So experience and fitness recovery boosts removed to align with the rest of the poster collection. Okay, for just those players. So I'll let you read the particulars. You get the idea. But let's get into the bonus indication, the star system. This is where it tells us what these damn stars mean. This is what we've wanted for so long. So listen up. Every star represents 4 attribute points in a player's respective characteristic. 4 points! So let's think about this. 3 stars at dribbling means that they add 12 points to dribbling. They're going to be huge, these boosts, because not only, think about it. Indrik right here gets 4 stars. These are doubled. So that's 8 stars in this system. Okay? 8 stars. Now think about that. In this, if each star equals 4 attribute points, his dribbling is now 16.48. Yes, I didn't make sure my math is sometimes off. 16 attribute points for his dribbling now because of this skin. This patch alone is going to make this Indrik ridiculous. So go through your personal skins, like for me. This now with these updates, it changes everything because all these skins that I have in my library, dude, Barella is now going to get, so that's 1.5, so that would be 3 points added in his pass accuracy. So that's actually going to be 3 points now in the new system would be 12 points, 12 attributes. Stamina, now let's go to a different one. So you see, let's see, pass accuracy, stamina, increase. Let's go to a good one. Okay, so now interceptions for Zinchenko. Now, half would now be a full star, but that's 4 points to his interception. So if they were, for instance, 85, he's now an 89. Lautaro Martinez, 4 points for finishing, which would now be like 8. So that's what? 16. I mean, that's 1,000,000 points added to finishing. Go read this yourself. Make sure I'm not screwing anything up. But basically, all these are way more powerful. Now this means is 2 stars, and it would be 8 points to Vinicius's attacking positioning. 8 attribute points, I should say. That's huge. Now I hope it shows on the actual attributes page, but at least they describe it here. If they showed it on the attributes page, that would be like a home run, grand slam, I should say. But just telling us how much it gives us now, that's a home run. And the fact that they increased the power so much, like, dude, this Ronaldo, I mean, he's going to have like beyond perfect long shots. I mean, a lot of these boosts are going to take these players in certain areas up to 99, which is huge. Okay, so every star represents 4 points in a poke. 3 stars dribbling means 12 points. 2 stars at long shots means 8 points. UFL game designer on the recent enhancements. Okay, during the past months, we've taken in blah, 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 blah. We are introducing the first batch of changes aimed at improving your experience when using players with skins. Further adjustments will be made in upcoming updates based on your feedback. When discussing and designing skins and the representation, our primary focus has always been to provide players with a clear and convenient way to assess the power level of any given skin. Additionally, we wanted to give players tools to compare skins from different collections easily. Another key objective, both then and now, is to ensure compatibility with upcoming changes to game mechanics and systems, particularly in match gameplay. These changes also impact other systems, including skins. Therefore, we are updating the underlying values of bonuses to align the broader game adjustments. This is essential to keep skins from both existing and future collections relevant. So they want to keep the existing skins and future collections relevant. Okay, preventing them from becoming obsolete in the long run. We value your progress and want you to continue enjoying the ultra rare, legendary, or personal skins you have obtained. To achieve this, we have decided to use star representation as a standardized way to display the relative power of skins. We want to prevent confusion caused by necessary balance changes, such as adjustments from +4 to +5 or from +5 to +7% in strength, where the actual effect remains the same due to game mechanics evolution. Okay, so that's what they're trying to say, is that as these stars increase, let's say it's 8 points added to your shooting, and then all of a sudden it becomes 16 points, you're not going to maybe be able to really see the biggest difference, because the only way they're going to change this is if the gameplay overall changes, right? Maybe goalkeepers get buffed, so then shooting has to get buffed a bit. So now instead of 8-point bonuses, you're going to see 12-point bonuses, so the skins actually have an effect. That kind of thing is what they're saying. Okay, this approach ensures the changes remain transparent and intuitive for all players. Training room, there's a bunch of stuff added there, so make sure you go look at that. You can now use players from your team in training mode, which is cool. Audio and visual, improved a bunch of stuff like that. And then other deluxe pass holders can now purchase star points using LP. So now, if you're behind or you need star points, you haven't played the game as much, you can go buy those star points, which for me, I finished the whole thing. I haven't done it this go around, but I finished the whole team pass and had tons left over. So you probably won't have to do this, but maybe you go on a hiatus from the game for a while and you can buy those star points now. I mean, shoot, if I buy the premium pass and play enough, maybe I'll do it to get certain rewards, because now I'm back in there. A special St. Patrick's Day event kicks off on March 13th, so that's tomorrow. That's when you really want to start opening packs, because if you get any skin packs, I don't know about other stuff, but I know the skin packs, if you get that Leprechaun, I think it's like 500 million or maybe way more. But anyway, that's the entirety of the patch notes, man. I mean, the biggest thing, obviously, I've been saying it, and I'll say it again, is the fix of the depth and the width of the defense. But man, they put so much more in here. So let me read real quick. Out of pitch file, okay. This update looks good, okay. They also didn't say anything about playing always on the preferred stadium and with the preferred ball. Like this, I am facing people with dark colored ball and it's difficult for me to see. Okay. So make sure everybody, if you play Bobby, use a dark colored ball. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I get what you're saying. So like on FC, you kind of get the pick. So it's always like what you see on your screen is what you want to see. But in UFL, it's based on like what the other player has available, is what you're saying, right? So maybe that's something they can add in the future. But this is ridiculously huge, dude. Like, I literally could not be happier about this. I mean, look at these skins. So, okay, so I got Endrick. That's huge. He's already a good dribbler. He's going to be amazing. He's got the Predator skill upgrade, and his XP increases a ton. This Barella looks interesting too, though. Man, and then De Bruyne, I would probably go to Barella because he's cheaper. This Ronaldo's long shots and composure. Let's take a look at some of these. The attacking positioning. I mean, think about those bonuses, dude. This right here is 16 times 2 on interceptions. I mean, that's like 99 interceptions now. I mean, this is crazy. Not to mention, like, look at this. That's huge all the way across the board now. So that's essentially, it's doubled, so it's 2 stars. So that'd be 8 points for finishing, acceleration, jumping. 8 points for ball control, sprint, speed, and dribbling. I mean, this is going to be ridiculous, guys. This changes everything for like what skins. Not to mention these epics or legendary. What are these ones? Are epics, right? Legendaries. These legendaries and epics and all this, these are increased too. I mean, look at these updates. So now you're going to get a ton. So Bono, let's look at his. His reflexes essentially goes up like what? It's actually going to be 2.5 becomes 5 stars. So 5 times 4 is 20. 20 points added to reflexes. 20 points added to positioning. 20 points, attribute points added to handling. That is ridiculous. No, the update is coming 3 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 a.m. UTC. Look up whichever one and connect it to your time zone. But Linux or Lewis Linux, I'm telling you right now, long time no talk to, you will be seeing me a lot more because this game is absolutely fixed. Go through and check all these skins. Go through and read the detailed notes or play back this video. I'm also going to chop this up and put it into a video, by the way. So you will have that. Now, I'm going to end this stream, take a short intermission, just because I have to based on this recording. I just realized it's a 60-minute cutoff. I'm going to literally go to the bathroom, refill my coffee. I'm coming back with a bonus live custom tactics. You will see exactly what I'm bringing into this post-patch, and I'll talk to you about some of the players I'm looking to get, but you will see the whole thing. Player roles, depth, everything based on these updates. So, come on back. Let's give it 5 minutes. It's 10:57 my time. We'll call it 11:02. I will be back. So I will see you in a bit. All right. So boom, boom, and boom. See you guys in 5 minutes for the custom tactics if you're interested in that. Peace.